Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Inside Guns with your host, me, the Yankee Marshal. Today I want to clear up something from my video yesterday. I got some comments in the comment section and a couple of emails from people that said I made it look like I was endorsing using your handgun, your everyday carry, to end a fist fight. That it's okay to use your handgun to end a fist fight that you're losing. People said, you need to make a retraction video. You need to clear up what you were saying because it very easily could have been interpreted that you said, if someone is attacking you, you're fighting with someone, you're engaged in mutual combat, and then you're starting to lose, you can use your handgun. So I wanted to make a video today addressing that. Now, before I do go into that, though, I want to do a quick thank you here to my viewers, my supporters out there. The Knights That Say Pew Pew Pew, or Knights Who Say Pew 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 shirt that we are selling has quickly become probably the best-selling shirt we've ever done. And that's not saying a lot. The next best-selling shirt was one we sold 24 of, and that's the Save the 40s shirt. And we are about to sell the 25th Knights Who Say Pew 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 shirt. And because of that, we are funding TYMP fully for the first time ever with merch sales and with Subscribe Star memberships. So first time ever that we fully funded TYMP since we've changed the structure. So I want to thank everyone out there. You all made that possible. I didn't know that shirt would be so popular. And I know a lot of people are like, 25, that's not very popular. Big channels sell hundreds of shirts every time they make a design. Well, we're not a big channel. Never try to be a big channel. We're a small channel. We're a small community. We're a small group of people. Some might say a cult, or at least that's what we're trying to be, But I just wanted to say thanks because of selling that many of that t-shirt. Like I said, we are funding TYMP for the first time. So move over, Save the 40s. The Knights Who Say Pew 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 is now our #1 selling shirt. At least it will be once we sell one more. And that is because of you guys. And that funds TYMP. And that is the first time ever. And that is awesome. So I just wanted to say thanks. With that being said, let's get back to the topic here where I was telling people to use guns to end fistfights. Well, I'm not going to make a retraction video to say you can't use a gun to end a fist fight because there's lots of times when you can. Now, you cannot go start a fight and then use your gun when you start losing that fight. That puts you in some really murky territory there, some gray area. That is something I would never suggest anybody do. You're probably going to spend some time in jail if you shoot someone after you start losing a fight, even if you're in serious danger. That person could physically kill you. The fact that they don't before you actually shoot them is going to make it really hard for you to win your case there because you started the fight. Any escalation that happened went from where you started it. So never, ever start a fight that you're counting on your handgun to end. We see that too often nowadays. We see protesters, counter-protesters, Proud Boys, Antifa, etc. that go out and get all brave because they know they're armed and they're in a group of other armed people. They're counting on that to save their bacon if things go bad. So that is wrong. Don't go out and start trouble hoping or at least anticipating that your firearms are going to be the solution if you start getting your ass kicked. That makes you the aggressor. That makes you the bad guy. No matter which political side of the aisle you're on, if you go out and start trouble, looking for trouble, counting on your gun to even the odds or to put the odds in your favor, then you're probably going to go to jail, and you should go to jail because you're a bad person. That doesn't mean you can't protest while armed, as long as you're not out like trying to openly antagonize people into a fight. You can protest without wanting violence. In fact, most protesters shouldn't want violence. But there are some groups that show up just to start violence. And if you do that while armed, counting on your gun to save you, then you should go to jail. You're a bad person. If you start a fist fight with someone in a bar, and then as soon as they start kicking your ass, you pull your gun, you're a bad person. You're the bad guy there. You started that fight. It never would have happened if you'd have walked away, or you would have never started it. And now that we're talking about walking away, that's something most people should do while armed. I've told everybody that. You know, when you're carrying a gun, you have added responsibility to not get into a conflict with someone, especially someone who's unarmed. You don't want to do that. You have too big of an advantage. You want to walk away from that. But you can't always walk away. And you shouldn't have to always walk away. But you should when you can, but you can't always. Sometimes other people start to fight. I've been in a lot of fist fights in my life. I know a lot of people look at me, my perfect face and my sweet disposition, and they find that hard to believe that I've been in a lot of fist fights. Well, I've had 2 reconstructive surgeries on my nose. I've got fake teeth. So I've been in a few fights in my life. I was raised in a poor coal mine town in West Virginia. So I've been in a lot of fights. I've only started a few of them. The vast majority have been started by other people. I was more than happy to engage, but I wasn't much of someone to start a fight. I mean, I've been a dick before. You know, surprise, surprise. So, you know, most people can go about their life not getting in any fights, but sometimes trouble finds you. You can try not to look for trouble all you want. You can avoid trouble all you want, but sometimes it finds you. And just because someone is not physically armed with a firearm and they start a fight with you and you come to the point where you are in danger, serious danger, they could physically injure you seriously or even kill you, you have every right to use any advantage you have, including your firearm. Because what really is important is, how did this conflict start? What was the first point of escalation? What was the first point of conflict that everything else escalated from? You know, that's what's really important. And you got to be really careful. Even if it's just you bumped into someone in a bar and spilled their drink, and then that started escalating, you right there will be in a courtroom, people saying, hey, he started it with his action of bumping into that guy, spilling his drink, and not apologizing. So you got to be really careful when you're carrying. But let's say you bump into the guy, you apologize, you're like, I'll buy you another drink, I'm sorry, it's 100% my fault, and he starts shoving you because he don't want to hear it. He's looking for a fight. You can't just run away, you're in a crowd of people. Then he knocks you down, you're on the ground. Well, you're in a very dangerous situation there, potentially harmful, potentially deadly situation there. And you have every right to use every tool at your disposal to protect yourself. You didn't start this fight. You didn't want this fight. You couldn't run away from this fight. And even if you could have run away and didn't, you didn't start the conflict. That came from them. And then, like I said, you have every right to use your firearm. Just because they're not armed doesn't mean they're not deadly. What if they have a knife? You know, or they got hard-soled boots on. They're going to kick you in the head while you're on the ground. They're going to stomp you to the ground. That can be deadly. So you don't have to submit yourself to a potentially deadly situation just because the person that you're fighting with isn't equally armed. If they started the fight, well, then that's their problem for starting a fight with someone that they thought they were physically superior to, because most people don't start fights with people they know they can't beat. They start fights with people they feel that they are physically superior to and they have an advantage. And after they start that fight, if they find out that their advantage has been negated by the fact that you have a gun, that's their problem, not yours. And usually the presentation of that gun, in most incidences, will preclude any deadly violence or serious injuries, because the person who thought he had an advantage usually goes, oh, never mind, once they're presented with a gun barrel. So often, presenting that gun can save your life and also prevents anyone from being seriously harmed. But like I said, if you start a fight, to sum it up, no, don't use your firearm to defend yourself. If you start a fight, if they're not going to kill you, if you don't desperately feel in danger of your life or in fear for your life, don't use your firearm, because you started that fight and you're probably going to go to jail. So unless you're willing to go to jail, don't use it. Now, there is an argument here, and I'm not going to pretend I'm blind to it, that, like I said, presenting the firearm could stop the fight. There is a valid argument there. But once again, you're still in that position where you shouldn't have started the fight. You could have stopped the fight before drawing your gun. So it's just not an area you want to put yourself in legally. Like I said, it's a very murky gray area. So one, if you're carrying a gun, don't start fights. If you can avoid trouble, avoid trouble. Avoid fights. If you can't, if trouble finds you, you are in no way obligated to risk your life because of someone else's behavior. So in that case, like I've said already, you're more than justified in using your firearm. You're doing what you're supposed to do with your firearm. You're protecting yourself. You're protecting your safety, your physical well-being. So yes, you definitely can use a gun, even if the other person isn't armed, if they started it and you are reasonably in fear for your safety.